and companies that have price gouged consumers who are just trying to buy life-saving medical supplies. Others have empowered consumers to report telemarketing scams and robocall harassment. And so many of you have fought to protect our seniors from scams and other predatory practices. All of this work, just offering a few examples, all of this work has a direct impact on the economic health and well-being of so many people. And members of DACA, you are also, of course, leading the fight to protect the freedom of women to make decisions about their own bodies. So, as we all know, earlier this year in the Dobbs decision, the United States Supreme Court, the highest court in our land, I say to a room full of attorneys, took away a constitutional right that had been recognized from the people of America, from the women of America. I mean, think back to when we were in law school. Think about that. Could you have ever imagined that in our lifetime that would happen? Such a fundamental right as the ability of an individual to make personal decisions about their body and their life. That just happened. That just happened. A right that had been recognized for almost half a century. And immediately, of course, following Dobbs, extremists, so-called leaders, that's what I call them, extremist so-called leaders across our nation began to pass and enforce laws to criminalize doctors, nurses, healthcare providers. I mean, think about those folks, why they entered that profession, their sense of calling and duty to heal and help. And these so-called extremist leaders are passing laws to criminalize these folks, passing laws to punish women. And in the face of this, as it relates to the work of attorneys general, Dobbs also intentionally shifted the fight for reproductive rights to the states. So as the chief legal officer of your state, you, because I've been watching you, are bravely defending reproductive freedom. I met with many of you in my office at the White House, and we discussed the innovative strategies that you have used to defend women's reproductive freedom. You are taking on rightly the crisis pregnancy centers, launching public education campaigns, because I don't think I have it here, but I'll show you all a map of the United States right now in terms of the patchwork of different laws in different states on this issue and the confusion it is creating, and the need then for some of the most trusted elected officials to clarify the state of the law. And in the midst of the vast amount of confusion, the need of you as the truth tellers to sort out fiction from fact and combat misinformation and disinformation, which we all know often creates a situation that is ripe for predatory practices. You all are convening attorneys pro bono in your states, the law firms that sometimes you are up against, but often work with, convening pro bono services to ensure women can access reproductive health care. You all are filing legal challenges to state abortion bans, like right here in Wisconsin, where our host, where are you, Josh? Josh Cowell is working with Governor Evers to challenge an abortion ban listen to this. With the limited resources every attorney general has, our friend here has to use his resources to fight a ban that was passed in 1849, before women even had a right to vote. And somebody's trying to push the legitimacy of that law, and he has to fight against it. Josh, our administration has your back. And we all know this is just the beginning. I'm sure everyone here read the Dobbs decision and concurring opinions. When Justice Clarence Thomas said the quiet part out loud. With Dobbs, we know, if there was any question, we now know, marriage equality is on the line. Many of you supported me when I was Attorney General of California and I refused to defend Proposition 8, which banned same-sex marriage. You all may remember, Daga, that in my race for Attorney General, I was running against, in the general election, a Republican who said he would support Proposition 8, which sought to ban same-sex marriages in California. You'll remember that on election night, he declared his victory. He didn't win. Right? Just that recently, we just fought for this. Attorneys General, Democratic attorneys general, stood by my side when we were fighting, just in my home state of California, not to mention what you fought for. And in this year of our Lord, 2022, in the Dobbs decision, a justice of the United States Supreme Court says the quiet part out loud that marriage may be on the line. Marriage equality. Says the quiet part out loud, the right to contraception is on the line. In Michigan, a candidate for Attorney General even compared emergency contraception to fentanyl. And suggested, therefore, it should be banned. This is what we're dealing with right now, in real time. This is what we're dealing with. And so on every level, it becomes incumbent on us, those who sincerely took an oath to protect and defend our Constitution and all of the principles upon which it was founded. The responsibility visits itself upon us to fight back. Earlier this year, President Biden signed 2 executive orders directing a whole-of-government approach to protect access to abortion care, the right to contraception, and the safety of providers and clinics. The United States Department of Justice is in federal court right now in Idaho and Texas, fighting to protect access to emergency medical care. And it comes down to this. Our nation was founded on the principles of freedom and liberty, principles enshrined in our Constitution. And guided by these principles, then, we all believe that a woman should have the ability to make the decisions about her body and her life if she chooses, in consultation with her faith leader, with her doctor, with her loved ones, but the government should not be making that decision for her. And it's interesting to note that in the Dobbs decision, and all of the folks who were the proponents of that decision said, well, we think it's just more appropriate for the states to decide. All right, let's just send it to the states. Check this out, and I'm sure you all have been following this. So while so-called leaders claim we should return the issue of reproductive freedom to the voters in the states, these same extremist so-called leaders are passing laws to make it intentionally more difficult for people to vote. Return it to the states. Let the voters there decide. While laws are being passed to ban drop boxes and restrict early voting. Laws that are making it illegal to give food and water to people who are standing in line sometimes for hours to vote. Undemocratic laws. Un-American laws. Earlier this month, our president, standing outside Independence Hall in Philadelphia, made clear, and I'll quote, "We are not powerless in the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy." So DAGA, your work to protect voting rights proves that point. Together you have condemned these sham audits of our elections. Together 20 Democratic attorneys general filed an amicus urging the Supreme Court to reject constitutional or congressional maps that dilute the votes of Black Americans in communities around the country. Together you have fought to make sure all eligible Americans, no matter their party, can cast a ballot and have it counted, because you know the freedom to vote is a foundation of our democracy, and we must do everything we can to protect it, including, by the way, demanding that Congress pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. Especially after, in 2013, Shelby took away the important elements, as we all know, of the Voting Rights Act. So, members of DAGA, today, our nation faces many threats to our rights and our freedoms, and we must stand united to uphold the sacred oath we have each taken to protect the people of our nation, to support and defend these foundational principles that are now at stake, and to build a more just, more safe, and more equitable future for all people. Together, we believe in the promise of our nation. I know that, because I know you guys. I see so many of my friends, Rob. I know what we believe. We may see the worst of human behavior sometimes in the work that we do every day, but I know who you are, and I know you believe in the promise of who we are and the best of who we are. So in these moments that challenge us, let us stand together, shoulder to shoulder, in defense of our democracy and all that we believe. Everyone here was meant to be here at this very moment and to do what you are doing. So thank you all on behalf of the people of our nation. Your role is critical, and we're counting on you. God bless you, and God bless America.